Hi guys, B.E.D Brewer here. Today we're brewing up a batch of beer, and I'm going to be brewing up two batches of beer, one extract and one extract with steeping grains. I want to compare them against an all-grain recipe and see if the steeping grains can give us the same mouthfeel, head retention, and flavor profile as what we can get out of a mashed or all-grain beer. So what we're going to do is we're warming up the water to 150 degrees, 155 degrees roughly, and I'm going to add in 1 pound of steeping grains. I'm going to do half a pound of carafoam so that I can go ahead and get that head retention, and half a pound of crystal, which is going to go ahead and give us that mouthfeel and a little bit of sweetness. Now, we only want to use grains that are not going to add any kind of fermentables. Since we're only going to leave it in here for 20 minutes, we're not going to have any conversion of those starches to simple sugars. What we really want is specialty grains, things that are going to add either body or some flavors, like chocolate malt or black patent malt, so we can change up the color of the beer as well as get a different mouthfeel. Now, some people consider steeping grains an intermediate step, but really all you're doing is measuring the temperature of water, getting it between 150 and 170 degrees Fahrenheit, and keeping it at that temperature with the grain inside for 20 to 30 minutes. That really is not that complicated. That is only one more step and about 30 more minutes than what you would spend brewing up a regular extract beer. So I am hoping that I can get the same profile out of this beer so that when I have some time constraints, I can go ahead and still brew up a batch of beer that has that really nice mouthfeel that I get from the all grain, as well as some head retention, because the extract beers normally don't hold on to the head very well. So I'm going to go ahead and finish brewing this up, and we're going to go from there. So we are at 150 degrees. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and soak our grain bag, and we're going to get ready to put the grains in here. Now, half a pound of grains or a full pound of grains is not that big. You can see my hand, it's not all that big. Now, it is going to absorb about a pint of water, so make sure when you're brewing up you have that extra pint to lose. Turn that fire down. Then we're just going to dump all these grains in here. And mix it around a little bit. Now, when you're using grains, you do want to try and get as much contact with the water as possible. That means you want to try and boil all of the water that you can. The reason is that the water is pulling out those sugars, and the more water you have, the more diffusion you have, or the more concentration is going to come out of those grains, because the less water you have, the water is going to become saturated or equalized with the sugars and the grains a lot sooner, and we want to go ahead and pull out as much as possible. So now we're going to leave this at about 150 degrees Fahrenheit for right around 20 minutes. All right, it has been 20 minutes, so now we're going to take our thermometer out because we don't need to worry about the temperature. And we're going to pull out our grains, let them kind of steep for a little bit more. Then we're going to pull them out and let them drain. You do want to keep around a bowl so that you can put the grains directly into it, because it is going to continue to drip and you don't want to make a mess. But it is that simple. Go ahead and stick around. You'll be able to see the final product. Check out the head retention versus a all grain batch and an extract only batch, and then I'll go ahead and give a taste to them and see which mouthfeel, or if I can get the same mouthfeel out of the all grain and the steeping grains. Alright, so it's been 2 weeks and we've had an opportunity for the extracts the extract brews to go ahead and condition. Now this is my all-grain batch, so this is my control group, and this is what I want to see if there's a very vast difference in the mouthfeel. One of these two is the all-grain or the steeping grains, and one of these is extract only. So let's go ahead and now just eyeballing it, this one has kept the head a little bit better, so from this I am suspecting that this is my steeping grains, because they do tend to go ahead and hold on to that head a little bit better. It's got a nice yeasty aroma. This one is a little bit more developed, so the odor out of this is a little bit less like bread and a little bit more like beer. And yeah, I've done some interesting things to this one, so I'm not done. Alright, so let's go ahead and see the mouthfeel. Okay, there is quite a bit of mouthfeel in this. It was a very thick beer, so I suspect that this is my steeping grains again. Yeah, this one is very thin. It's not quite like drinking water, but it does not have a whole lot of body to it. So when you drink it, it doesn't really coat your mouth. See, that has the feel of what you're used to with beer. It's a very thick beer. So I suspect that this is my steeping grains with extract, this is my extract only, and this is my all grain, but that's pretty obvious because the color is very different. Now I'm going to find out if I'm right. Alright, so I was right. This was the steeping grains, and it really does have an excellent mouthfeel. It's very thick, it's a very hearty beer. It feels like you can really bite into it, and again, it holds onto that head very, very well. Yeah, especially the extract only, especially after you just drank something with a full body and a good mouthfeel, it really feels very, very thin. So there you go. I do encourage you to use steeping grains. Again, while it's considered intermediate, it really is just getting your water up to temperature and allowing it to boil for 30 minutes or allowing it to be warm for 30 minutes. So definitely if you're using extract only, this is the way to go. All grain is really nice if you have a friend to brew with and if you have the time. Again, this takes about 2 hours less, and it is something that I could do alone. So subscribe to my channel. I come out with a new video about home brewing every week. Give me a like if you learned something, and I will see you next week.